So one more question. You kind of alluded to this a little bit. I had for you is talk about the whole Clive Davis thing, because I read that you guys kind of were like almost like one of his darlings back in the day. Like how did that all come about?
Yeah, he gotten forcibly retired from Arista Records and formed a new label called J Records, and brought along Alicia Keys, Busta Rhymes, Pearl Jam, stuff like that. But he didn't have any like real rock bands, and we actually had a development deal with Atlantic Records, and they had the first right of refusal on anything we were going to do. And when Halo started to take off, a bidding war broke out. And we had Elektra, we had Atlantic, we had Warner Brothers, we had J Records, RCA, and there had to be one more sprinkled in there. I think I said Elektra. Anyway, it was getting kind of out of control, the bidding war, and great for us. But Atlantic Records is kind of like, listen, we're not going that crazy on this band. So they gave us the free reins to go with whoever we wanted, and we sat down with, you know, pretty much every label. And there's just something about Clive Davis when the man sits down with you and says, hey, you're going to be my first rock band. I haven't walked a rock record into MTV and, you know, since Santana, you know, did Super Unknown with Rob Thomas. And we're just going to go all out for you. And one of the most important things for me was they also said they wanted to go international with the band. And that was a very important thing for me. Having known, you know, the international portion of it with, you know, Oppressor, our former band, I just knew the importance of like Europe and the UK and places like that. So they were like one of the only labels that really wanted to push us worldwide. So that was a clincher for me, and we went with them, and it was great. It was something. I mean, the man just commands respect when you sit in a room with him, you know?
Yeah, that's got to be cool to sit with a legend like that.
Oh yeah, and he does this little thing where he goes like that with his fingers, and says it's all part of the process, not process, but process. So we were doing that for like 10 years. You know, it's all part of the process, and you know, go like that with your fingers. But learned a lot from him. I mean, it was just, you know, he's a legend. You know.
Yeah. So last question, what does the future hold for you guys? Do you think that there'll be any new SOiL music anytime soon, or what do you guys have planned, like once you're done with this touring schedule?
Yeah, I mean, that's the $1,000,000 question about new music. It's something that, you know, we started to work on, then we opened up our mouths and said that we were working on it, and everybody got excited. And then we put out those 2 specialty pieces, and people are like, okay, this is great, but you know, let's get some new material. And kind of, you know, it's way more difficult as far as new material, because we all used to live in Chicago. So we'd practice 3-4 days a week in the jam spot and throw ideas off of each other and be super productive. It was like, you know, going to work every day. You know, I mean, it wasn't work. I don't ever consider what we do work, you know.
Right. But you had a routine.
Yeah. But, you know, we did that. And, you know, now with Ryan living in the UK and me and Adam are the only ones here, and our drummer lives in Kentucky, it's, you know, it's just real hard to get together. And for a band like us that was based on like jamming and vibing off of each other, sending stuff through the internet, you know, it has its disadvantages, you know?
Sure.
So we've got a lot of ideas. We got, you know, a couple partial songs complete, but, you know, we figured we've waited this long. We really, really need to come out with something that's as good, if not better than Halo, you know, or of the equivalent of that. And it's like, I keep seeing, you know, having a record label of my own, you know, I see so many, I'm in the thick of it constantly. And I just keep seeing bands of like our genre and stuff like that, just putting out, you know, albums because they feel like they have to, or just putting out singles just to throw them through the pipeline. And they're okay, but they just don't have that, you know, 2001, 2002 hit factor like some of those songs that we're going to be doing this tour all based around have. And, you know, it's disappointing because, you know, it satisfies a very small little base of fans, but you're not going looking at the big picture of it, you know, and we never want to release something subpar. So long story short is we have stuff, eventually we'll get to it. We just want to make sure it's the right stuff to release and that it's of a super high quality, because, you know, we've got so many albums under our belt and so much catalog. It's like new stuff is just going to be, you know, usurped by the by the bigger stuff that we already have. So it's got to be something that people are like, man, that's like the new Halo, or that's like, you know, Breaking Me Down Part 2 and stuff like that. So
yeah,
we're 99% there, but not 100. So
I can appreciate that. There is a lot of it feels like because of the way things are with social media, everything's moving so fast. People are just in a hurry to put something out where it's like, I have a little bit more respect for people that kind of take their time and really, 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 you know, focus on the detail and nuance of everything that they're doing. So
yeah, I don't like disposable music, you know, that's just thrown out there for content and then you're on to the next thing. I like a song that, you know, can resonate and you know, 10 years from now you're talking about it, or in our case, you know, 24 years later we're talking about it, you know. So
yeah, I mean, it says something.
We're there, we'll do it. You know,
it says something about the quality of the music you guys wrote. You're still touring on songs you wrote 20 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, that's proof right there that you're doing it right.
I mean, we hope so. I mean, who knows what's right or what's wrong anymore, you know, in this day and age with the way music is. You know, we just try to do the best we can and do what we feel is the best for us, and most importantly for the fans, because, you know, the fans are the reason we're still here to this day, and those are the last group of people that we want to let down, you know.
Yeah.
With that being said, you know, to not let them down, our next move is definitely new music before we put out anything else. You're not going to see any more live records or anything like that. I think we'll get crucified if we do that. But you know, next thing, you know, recorded from SOiL has to be new music, but we just got to make sure it's right, and, you know, and give the fans what they deserve, because they only deserve the best, because they've treated us the best over all these years, you know.